Hey superstars, Shireen Francis here, and I'm going to share with you how I quit my job to start my business. I'm in my 10-year anniversary since I started and registered a business in 2010. And now it's 2020, 10 years later, and I'm going to share with you my entire journey and some tips on what I would do differently. And for more tips on starting a business, growing your personal brand, and living your best life, hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified every time I release a new video. I have helped and inspired so many entrepreneurs to quit their job and venture off into their passion-based business, and I'm so excited to help you too. So let's get started. So let me start by saying why I wanted to start a business and why I wanted to quit my job. So at the time, I was actually working retail full-time as a visual merchandiser. And this was all about styling and merchandising product. And it was obviously not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, considering the fact that I had a degree in religious studies and I just didn't know what to do with it. I'm a coach by profession right now, and I was always fascinated with the universe, with God, with spirit, and that's why I studied religion. And I studied different cultures, and philosophy was a big part of my studies. But when I graduated, I was like, what do I do? So my options were to actually become like a pastor or a minister or a counselor, family counselor, and all of these things I did consider, but all of it didn't feel right. And at the time, my mom had been struggling with a mental illness, and I was supporting her that way. Me and my high school sweetheart were so passionately in love and we were ready to get married. And so it was kind of a very interesting journey for me in the beginning. But I knew that I had to get into a career or something that would allow me time flexibility to grow my family because I saw myself having kids, saw myself helping my mom with her health. But I wanted to inspire in big ways. I wanted to help people. It was just, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And the biggest thing for me is that I just didn't want to work for anybody. I am a little bit of like a rebel, and I wanted to wake up on my own time, do things on my own time, make as much money as I wanted. Uh, didn't want to answer to anybody. And so I just knew that I had to do something like start a business or entrepreneurship. So I remember actually in my last year of high school that I was doing research on careers before I went into university. And I ended up doing this quiz and this questionnaire, and the questionnaire listed the top three things that I'd be really good at. And the first thing that came up was entrepreneurship. And mind you, this is 10 years ago when entrepreneurship wasn't like a cool thing or widely taught as an awesome career path. And so when I read entrepreneurship at the top, I was like, what the heck's that? So I just skipped over it. So funny because that's what I am now. But the second thing was an actor. And then the third thing was like graphic designer or something like artistic, like artist or something. And so it was interesting because when I saw those three things, it was like entrepreneur, what the heck's that? Business, what's that? Like, who wants to be a business owner? I wasn't like, I didn't know about this world. And actor, I was like, yes, I want to be an actor because that was always a dream. But I had that limiting belief that, oh, actors don't make money, artists don't make money. So that list was like, even though I did the quiz and it was like, what would you be good at? Like, I just totally dismissed it. So, anyways, that's how I ended up getting into, like, I actually changed my major four times, like four, one, two, three, four times before I decided that, okay, I'm just gonna like study like philosophy, and because like that's the only thing that meant anything to me, like inspiration, meaning of life, spirituality. So I just got a degree in that, and that was that. So here I am graduating with a degree, and I'm done with my degree, with my paper, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? And because I was working retail, I was like styling people, fashion, da 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 da. People were like, "Oh my gosh, you're so good! You're so good at styling me!" Like, "Oh my gosh, do you do this for a living?" Da 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 da. And I was like, "Yeah, like maybe I could." And so I remember researching, and I found a career track called image consulting. And so I went to study and get certified as an image consultant because it was so cool. It had like a mixture of creativity with the styling and fashion. And then it also had like personal development and communication and how to present yourself and like the inspirational like mindset element to things that I'm really into. So I got a certificate in image consulting, and then I was like, I'm starting my business, right? So then, you know, working retail full time, finished my certificate, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job and start my business. So the first thing I did was, let me try to go part time and transition into promoting myself and getting clients and things like that. Um, I actually switched and worked for another like what do you call it? Like call center place that paid well, and that was part time. And they had like corporate opportunities. So it wasn't really in the retail sector, but it was like in the head office. So I had like a nice comfy seat and really good benefits, even though it was part time to full time. And it was like, yeah, like, okay, let me do this and build my business on the side. So then came the struggle, right? I just, it was, marketing was overwhelming. Like it was like huge. Branding, marketing, business, accounting, like who knows this stuff, right? They don't really teach you this stuff unless you, well, now they do, maybe 10 years later, but in 2010, like it, again, the marketplace in terms of education where I grew up, it just wasn't really emphasis on those types of topics. So I remember a lot of my building business efforts were learning, like taking courses. I hired so many mentors, so many different types of coaches. I've taken like every program under the sun. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into business and personal development. It is insane. I'm not going to list the number here. And um, the learning was happening, but guess what? There was still a struggle. And what I would find is that I would have like money some months and money not some months, and money some months and money not some months. And there was definitely like an entrepreneurial roller coaster. And I knew that something had to change. And so I went through a series of breakthroughs in my business. And by the way, in terms of timelines, I really had like a good 3 to even like 5 years of struggle. Okay. Um, but my breakthrough really came when I got pregnant. Woo! And I was on my mat leave, and I've already had my baby by this time, and I was still building my business while I was pregnant too. And I remember that piece. But my mat leave was almost up. Like baby came, I had 9 months, I believe it was, of mat leave. And I remember thinking to myself, there is absolutely no way that I could have like a semi full time job, um, baby, be taking care of my mom, who, again, it was supporting her with her health, and being like an awesome wife to come home to, because buddy, like if you're working that hard, like there's no leftovers for the hubby, right? So I just remember like future pacing and seeing that and being like, girl, you better get your business off the ground before your mat leave ends, because there's no way you're going to be starting a business, taking care of kids, everybody, da 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 da. So I made the decision to quit my job and start my business, and not really start it, but really get it off the ground. And I did it. What I did honestly was, because I had been doing different types of things like image consulting, but also there are so many skill sets that I had with my certifications. Like I learned so much about communication. I learned so much about how to build rapport. And I had taken so many courses in marketing to get my own business off the ground. I ended up getting like finding a small niche around marketing communications for business owners. And so this must have been a fluke, because when you really make a decision, I find that the answers come to you. Like sometimes you don't need to know the how first. It's about making the decision first, and then the how. You got to trust God, and you got to trust that the universe that we're in is designed to support us. And so the answer came, and it was like, okay, focus on business owners who need to invest in their communication skills, their image, and getting business, etc. And so I focused on that niche. The first breakthrough for me, though, was mindset, because when I put myself out there, there was still a sense of me not being a good enough for it, like me being a newbie still. I looked super young when I started. Again, we're talking 10 years ago. So I was in my early 20s, and just like asking people for money, telling them my rate, just not being a people pleaser, discounting myself, like giving discounts, all that type of stuff was an issue. And so I had a breakthrough, and what that breakthrough was I committed to doing a personal development program that was a big investment. Like it's like the tuition of a university. I was a good, like, I don't know, $5,000 at the time. And I remember using my last bit of funds to do that. And this was a bit scary, because again, when you are depleting your savings and you're living paycheck to paycheck to try to make your dream work, it was scary for me to put that money down. But I invested in myself, and I went into a coaching designation program. And the reason why I did this is because I really wanted to learn more about myself and how can I truly tap into my potential. And it was game changing for me. Not only did I get advanced certifications as a master coach, with the ability to board designate people and coaching and all of that, I applied the skills that I learned to myself, and the thought processes and the strategies to myself as well. And I remember after going through that program, and it was like full time, 3 months, paying multiple big checks to do this. I actually went on a payment plan to finish the program. But after finishing a good 90 days of that, I remember selling my first $10,000 client, like on a call, paid in full. Like the person's across the other world, so it had nothing to do with like being in person or developing rapport, developing like a long-term relationship. No leads, no funnels, any of those gadget thingies. It was just like, so yeah, so it's 10K, right? And like, woo, wired that over, and it was good. And I was like, wow, that mindset breakthrough did it for me, changed everything for me. So that was my first breakthrough. My second breakthrough was all around visibility, like getting out there for the world to see me. So, again, this is how this went. Basically, I remember like I had colleagues who were coaches as well, master coaches as well. And I remember having a level of success, like being able to close these big contracts, finally getting some cash flow in, some momentum as a consultant. And I was in conversation with a coach, a colleague of mine, and I was like, I feel like there's a level that I need to push through, break through, like in my business. And I knew it was around visibility and getting out there and putting myself out there. And mind you, I was a lover of, like, again, acting and performance. And I had already been a skilled image consultant. So it was interesting to see how there was like a logical conscious knowing, but an unconscious fear of still actually doing it, because sometimes you know what to do, but you're like scared to do it. So we did a technique, a cool technique, which I actually show people how to do this in my program. And after we did that mindset technique, I remember like instantly I had mucus coming from my nose. And usually, in the philosophy that I work with, anytime you're releasing like water or mucus or a headache or something like that, sometimes it has to do with you releasing a limiting belief from the unconscious level. And so when we did that technique, it was a 2-minute technique, and instantly, like, whoop, it was like mucus just dropped like water from my nose. It wasn't like whoosh, whoosh. It was just like droplets. And we were both like, whoa, like yeah, right. So I definitely released something, but not too long after, it was about 3 days after, I had a very spiritual experience that happened where I heard God, right? I'm a very spiritual person, but I felt the inspiration of God to start a TV show. And there's another video on how I started my TV show. You could go watch it, and I go into depth of how I started it. But basically, like in a couple weeks, I had managed to put together production that was broadcast across Ontario and Canada and parts of Canada. And it was also airing in the Caribbean. And that gave me so much more exposure in my business. I definitely, I finally, found myself earning what I wanted to earn. And it was brilliant. And then after 2 seasons of producing this TV show, I had just done like an incredible interview with Les Brown, the best speaker of all time, Les Brown, and sitting and being like, there's more, there's still more. And the last thing that I really needed in my breakthrough as an entrepreneur was the permission to really be, do, and have everything that I wanted. And the last thing that I didn't have was the freedom to just actually go and be an actor and a creative, which is, again, what I mentioned in the beginning. And so here I am in my 30s, and I'm like, really, Shireen? Like, I know you started a TV show. I know you're on video. I know you're inspiring and you're doing all these great things. And now you're going to go into acting too? And I said yes. I said yes to myself. And so, here I am now. It's only been a year and a half in my acting career. But I went back and did classes, and I got an incredible agent. And then I booked some big deals. Like, I'm excited because, like as we speak now, there are good like 4 or 5 commercials just circulating around the world. In Canada, there are people texting me every day saying, "Oh, I saw your commercial." In the USA, in the Caribbean, "Oh, I saw your commercial," and it's just phenomenal. And I did manage to do a TV show as well. Which is going to be out a year from now. And I did some short films, and it was just when all said and done, and when I look back over my journey of deciding that, you know, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to quit my job. I trust that everything's going to come together. 10 years later, I'm looking at my 10-year anniversary right now in 2020. As you know, 2020 was a pandemic. Um, and we still are in a pandemic at the time of this recording. And it has been my best year ever, right? Just ever. I just feel so good about it. And, you know, having those three breakthroughs, which I would say is mindset, then allowing myself to be visible. And the third is to truly have it all, do what I want, have the pleasure of the time freedom, the business entrepreneurship, and then the creative the creative liberty of just having the life that I want just was amazing.
What's your big business vision? And are you going to commit to making it happen? Say yes and drop your business link in the comments below.
So now, 10 years later, I'm still expanding, I'm still growing. Everything's not perfect, and everything's not perfect. I'm in the best place that I could possibly be in. I'm excited about the programs that I have for people, the mentorship program that I have for new entrepreneurs, new startups that are in the position of, you know, making that decision of quitting their job and starting their business, or I like to say transitioning into business. I really get lit up with helping entrepreneurs, helping creatives to grow their brand, to market themselves, to get visible, to expand themselves and serve more people. And it's just been a phenomenal experience. And if you are someone that is truly wanting to just break through and have your own vision manifested now, I just encourage you to take the step, to make the decision. You can do it. All the answers will never come to you before you make the decision. You just got to make it. And if you want support or need mentorship, I do have a mentorship program. The links are in the description or wherever you're watching this. It'll definitely be available to you here, or you can go to ShireenFrancis.com. If you enjoyed this video, if this inspired you, go ahead, subscribe for more just like this. Hit that bell button, like it, share it, and I will see you in the next one.